Why do people sometimes hate you, even when all you've ever shown them is kindness? Why does a good heart so often attract resentment, suspicion, or even hostility? Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and founder of analytical psychology, believed the answer lies not in kindness itself, but in the hidden forces of the human psyche. Today, we'll explore Jung's concepts of the shadow, projection, and the persona to uncover why your light sometimes awakens the darkest reactions in others. This is not a comfortable journey, but by the end, you'll see that the hate directed toward you often has little to do with you, and everything to do with what others cannot face within themselves. On the surface, kindness seems like the universal language of goodwill. We're told, be nice, be helpful, be generous, and people will treat you the same in return. But life often proves otherwise. You hold the door open, and someone walks through without so much as a thank you. You give your time, your patience, your support, and in return, you're met with coldness, distance, or even contempt. Why? According to Jung, kindness does more than just offer comfort. It also casts a light, and light has a strange property. It reveals whatever it touches. When you are consistently kind, that kindness becomes a mirror. It reflects not only your good intentions, but also the absence of those qualities in others. Imagine someone who struggles with selfishness, pride, or unresolved resentment. When they encounter genuine kindness, it does not always inspire them. Sometimes it threatens them. It exposes their inadequacy, their failures, their own inability to love freely. So instead of admiration, they respond with irritation. Instead of gratitude, they respond with hostility. Jung might say, your kindness awakened their shadow. The shadow, in Jungian psychology, is everything we reject, repress, or deny about ourselves. It's the darker side of our personality. The envy, greed, anger, weakness, or vulnerability that we don't want to admit we carry. But the shadow doesn't disappear just because we deny it. It waits in the unconscious, hidden from sight, but very much alive. And when we meet someone whose presence awakens those hidden parts, the shadow comes rushing to the surface. For example, you may be kind because you value peace and compassion, but to someone who has buried deep anger, your calm presence feels intolerable. You remind them of their inability to control themselves. Or you may be generous and open-hearted, but to someone who secretly feels entitled, your giving nature feels like a threat, because it makes them realize they only take but rarely give. This is the cruel irony of kindness. By living in your light, you accidentally awaken the shadows of others. And when people are not ready to face their own shadow, they direct it outward, at you. Jung described a powerful psychological mechanism called projection. When we cannot accept a part of ourselves, we push it onto others. We see in them what we refuse to see in ourselves. So when someone hates you despite your kindness, it's often because they are projecting their own unacknowledged flaws onto you. They may accuse you of being fake, not because you are, but because they wear masks every day. They may resent your generosity, not because you overstep, but because they feel guilty about their own selfishness. They may dislike your calmness, not because it harms them, but because their repressed anger bubbles beneath the surface. Jung wrote, everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But most people don't choose self-understanding. They choose blame. They project their shadow onto you, and then punish you for carrying it. This is why your kindness can sometimes attract hostility. It isn't about you. It's about what your presence reveals in them. Another Jungian idea that explains this paradox is the persona, the mask we wear to survive in society. Every day, people put on masks. The mask of success, the mask of confidence, the mask of being nice or in control. These personas help us navigate social life, but they are not the whole truth of who we are. Now, here's the problem. When you show authentic kindness, when your actions come from genuine compassion rather than performance, you strip away the illusion of the persona. Your authenticity threatens those who rely heavily on their masks, because deep down, they know that behind their mask lies insecurity, fear, and resentment. So instead of appreciating your kindness, They label it as fake. Why? Because their own kindness is fake. Their own smile is forced. Their own niceness is a mask. And in the face of real authenticity, the mask begins to crack. This is deeply uncomfortable. So the easiest defense is to attack the one who makes them feel exposed. This dynamic isn't just personal, it also plays out in society. History shows us that those who speak truth, show compassion, or live authentically are often rejected. Socrates was condemned. Christ was crucified. Reformers and visionaries have always faced suspicion and hatred. Why? Because their presence disrupted the collective shadow. Groups, like individuals, repress their flaws. A society that thrives on greed may hate those who live simply. A culture obsessed with power may ridicule those who choose humility. A workplace filled with ego-driven competition may ostracize the person who offers help without expecting reward. In this way, kindness is not neutral. It's revolutionary. It challenges the hidden structures of power and insecurity. And revolutions always provoke backlash. Here is the deepest truth Jung would have us understand. When people hate you for your kindness, they are not actually seeing you. They are seeing themselves reflected back in your mirror. Your light reveals their darkness. Your authenticity reveals their masks. Your generosity reveals their selfishness. It is not you they hate. It is the reminder of what they fear, repress, or avoid within their own psyche. And in that moment, you become less of a person to them and more of a screen for their projections. So what do you do when your kindness attracts hate? First, understand that it is rarely personal. Their reaction is about them, not about you. Second, resist the temptation to stop being kind just because it triggers others. True kindness, rooted in authenticity, does not depend on approval. Third, protect your boundaries. Kindness does not mean being a doormat. Jung would remind us that integrating the shadow also means recognizing your own capacity for strength and self-protection. And finally, remember Jung's words, knowing your own darkness is the best method for dealing with the darknesses of other people. By integrating your own shadow, by facing your own flaws, anger, and insecurities, you become less vulnerable to the projections of others. Their hate no longer defines you. So why do people hate you even when you're kind? Because your light exposes their shadow. Because your authenticity threatens their mask. Because your generosity reminds them of their selfishness. Because your peace reveals their turmoil. In the end, the hate is not proof that you are doing something wrong. It may be proof that you are living authentically and awakening truths others are not yet ready to face. And perhaps that is the ultimate paradox of kindness. That sometimes the more genuine it is, the more it unsettles the world around you. Have you ever been disliked for being kind? Or hated for showing love? Share your thoughts below.